right, 8 minutes after 10 o'clock. Gosh, I'm starting all these segments a little bit late today. Matt is here to talk about your car, my car, everybody's car, because cars are cars all over the world.
All over the world.
Yeah, Robin had an interesting observation yesterday. That? She said, songs are still, as they always were, are being written about love, but nobody writes songs about cars anymore. So I don't know. You know what it is? Cars are just not as cool as they used to be. You think that's true?
No.
I think
cars are cooler now than they used to be.
Because you're a car person. Do you think the average high school kid who can't wait to drive can't wait to drive as much as you and I couldn't wait to drive? Or do you think?
Well, I think some are, some aren't. I don't know. Back in the day, it's funny. My kid, having 6 kids, so I got to see.
Oh, you got a little idea of that.
Yeah, I got to, right. Some of them, oh man, on their birthday, they're ready to go. Let's go, Dad, let's go. And then some of my other kids are like,
Really? They didn't really care?
Yeah.
Well, what about the car itself? Like, we were in love with the Camaro and the Mustang and the Corvette.
I think those cars are still here.
But I mean, are the kids excited about them?
I think some are. I think that there are still there's a younger generation of gearheads. You know what I'm saying? There's, a matter of fact, I just interviewed a real young person last week looking for a job, and so I sat down and talked to him, and he's a young guy. And he's a gearhead. My son-in-law, he loves tinkering and creating and building and messing with his cars.
But here at the mall, come to think of it, this is a pretty young crowd that comes to the mall, and when you see them in the parking lot, what I notice is not that the cars are new, but that they're lifted or they're lowered. They're either higher than normal or lower than normal, and they got these lights and wheel covers and things.
Yeah. So that's still there.
Okay, but aren't they older cars? Aren't they driving around like old LTDs and things like that?
No, it seems to me like a lot of the young people, especially like my son-in-law and stuff, he's into the Japanese cars, the Toyotas and the Acuras and the Hondas. And they're doing stuff to those cars that we would do to a small block Chevrolet or a small block Ford car or something. I had this one kid, he came in and he wanted me to take 9 pounds. He had I think it was an Acura with a manual transmission. And he brought me the flywheel and he wants me to cut 9 pounds of metal off of this flywheel, turn it. And because I got this motor and we're going to do this with this transmission and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, oh my goodness, this could be a dangerous thing. So and I said to the kid, I said, so what happens if this flywheel decides to explode?
Oh no!
Oh, I got a blanket for it, and so
blanket.
Yeah, it's called a blanket. It's like a Kevlar blanket that you put between the top of the transmission and the floorboard, so if something does explode, it doesn't come up and kill you.
Okay, so it's made for that.
It's a safety device.
Holy cow!
With loops and so I still see it.
All right.
I do want to. Hey, before we get started, though, the guy that wrote my song, the song that we play, I just want to throw a congratulations out to them, John and Greta. They got married Saturday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it was, and they got married at Silver Springs, and it was
you there?
Really cool. Yeah, I was actually invited.
Did you sing for him?
I didn't sing. I don't sing for nobody. I sing for me. I sing to the Lord.
Are you ready for some drums?
Yeah, let's take a
I almost said, are you ready for some drums? Are you ready for a call? Because I was thinking you played drums. Good morning. You're on the air with Matt.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, some of the great old songs of yesteryear. There was Little GTO, there was Mustang Sally, there was 409, and then of course there was Beep Beep.
Beep Beep, yeah. And we were thinking some
Little
others.
Nash Rambler.
Little Deuce Coupe.
I had a Nash Rambler.
Yeah. We had a Rambler when I was a kid.
So did I.
Did you really?
3 on the tree.
American Motors, right? That was the company?
Yep.
Yeah. Whatever happened to them? They just decided to close shop?
Well, American Motors was merged into Chrysler, basically because Chrysler wanted the Jeep.
Okay. Matt agrees. All right. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
So we need to get some of the new songwriters to create some more car songs. Maybe it'll help sell cars. I mean, how many of those did Little Red Corvette by Prince? Did that sell Little Red Corvettes?
Don't know. I think Corvettes sold themselves.
Yeah, I think so.
The new Corvettes. See, that's an awesome looking car. I like the new Corvettes, the new body style.
Is that right?
Yeah. I don't like driving them. I don't like getting in them, but I like the.
Have you ever designed a car?
No, I never did. I'm not an artistic.
We're like the doodler that said, "Oh gosh, look at this cool car."
That's not me. My daughter, yeah, she could.
Is that how it all starts? They're just doodling and say, "Look at this shape. I like this shape."
Sure, it all starts on a piece of paper.
Gosh, we saw some car when we were going to Orlando that didn't look wide enough to hold more than two people. It was a wide car, but it had like a small passenger area, just like beveled out or something. I guess is the way to say that.
Yeah, it's funny when you go, like when we went to Cuba and stuff, and you see the cars that are, naturally.
That we used to see.
Well, you go there to see the old cars, because they're everywhere. But they also have new cars there. But they're not American new cars. They're from other countries.
Oh, really?
So there's cars, I'm like, what kind of car is that? And you look at the brand or that little emblem on them, and that's a Toyota or a Honda or whatever.
Okay.
And then there's these other cars I'm looking at, and I don't even know what they are. Never seen it. I've never seen that emblem before.
Isn't it interesting? Huh?
That's pretty.
And there's no American cars because we had a boycott or whatever, the embargo, whatever.
Yeah.
All right, we do have another phone call. Good morning. You're on there with Matt.
Yes. Good morning, Matt. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
See, NASCAR questions here. Like in the summertime when it's extremely hot, of course it's always hot when they're racing, more or less. But do they add anything to the coolant for the radiator other than just water, some kind of a special fluid?
Yeah, they just have their coolant. And they actually, I don't know if you've ever watched NASCAR and watch them. They'll have tape in the front, and they'll put tape on or take tape off, and that's to make things more efficient. The hotter they can get it, the better it runs, kind of thing. So that they'll remove tape. I know when we were racing cars and stuff, and one of the tricks was underneath the air, we have an air filter, and then we have this foam cover that goes over it, and we would actually duct tape parts of the air filter to try to raise engine temperature if it's cold like it is out there. We want to get that engine hotter. So there's, but as far as the fluid goes, they're just using whatever they use, some type of a coolant.
Yeah. So what you're saying is the hotter the engine, the better it runs.
The better it runs. Yeah.
Wow. Now what about the transmission now? Do they have a coolant for that or something?
Yeah, they've got coolers for the transmissions. They actually have coolers for the rear differential. They got coolers on all kinds of stuff. You want things to. Yeah. It's kind of weird because you're like, well, you said you want a hot, but some things you want the engine to run at a hot temperature, but you want to keep it cool all at the same time.
Yeah, interesting. I would imagine that Indy cars are pretty much the same principle, huh?
I don't know that much about Indy cars. I just never really got into the Indy car thing because I can see myself driving in a Chevy Monte Carlo, you know what I'm saying? But I can't see myself driving around in an Indy car.
Well, I feel like you about Corvettes. They're beautiful, but for me, it'd take a half an hour to get in and out of the damn thing,
Yeah, no, I'm not getting into that thing.
Yeah, and not only that, I don't think I'd want to be a crack up with one of those.
No,
they look like they break easy.
Yeah, they are well reinforced.
I heard that they spin out easy.
Yeah, there's not much metal around you, so you're kind of, it's like a motorcycle. You're kind of hanging out there,
Well, you'd be surprised what's under the skin of that car.
Really?
The frame and the safety devices that they actually have. It's quite phenomenal. You just don't see it because it's all covered by fiberglass, but you take the fiberglass away, and those cars are pretty stout.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know.
Is that the only car that's made entirely in fiberglass?
No, there's a lot of cars out there are made of fiberglass now. I don't, and I wouldn't even know if it's fiberglass or not, or some kind of a plastic composite, like Saturns and stuff. when we have to replace a window motor in a Saturn, and in most cars we open the door, take the door panel off, and then replace the window motor. But on a Saturn, you take the outside, you take the skin off. You don't take you don't take the interior apart. You take the exterior apart.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, actually.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a religious question to ask you, because I know you're a religious man. Do you actually practice your religion, or do you just like learn it? Because I have a question for you about forgiveness. Do you forgive people pretty easily?
Sometimes, not all the time.
All right, like what if I brought my car to Walmart, for example, for an oil change? I feel like I cheated on you. Would you forgive me for that?
Yes, I would forgive you.
Oh, I didn't, but I almost did. I went to Walmart. We were going to go to see the Star Wars movie.
Okay.
So we had a time. And I said, I got plenty of time. The thing says change your oil. I'm not going to bother Matt. I feel funny waiting, because I said to Matt already, what about the light versus the number? Always go with the number. And the light's been already on for a week. I'll just go in here. It'll take him 20 minutes. We'll be done. Well, an hour and a half later, it wasn't done. So I said to the lady, excuse me, when is my car going to be done? And the guy, who was the mechanic, said, I just pulled it in. I said, how long is it going to take? He said, a half hour. I said, oh my gosh, I don't have a half hour. Never mind. We're not going to do it. So almost did it, Matt. Almost cheated on you. All right.
Oh, bro.
There was only one car in front of me. And he said, look, I'm the only one working back there. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, okay, thank you very much. That was God talking to me. He said, what are you doing?
I don't have to forgive you.
Why not?
Because God dealt with you.
Didn't happen already. Anyway, so I still have to go get my oil change. And here's the other thing I thought. Well, it's better anyway, because they probably don't do all the other things you do. Because you've already told me that when you do a service, whatever you call it. See, I don't want to ask for an oil change anymore, because I have to ask for the other thing.
Yeah, I need to get my car serviced.
That's it. It's like I need to learn the language.
But even if you say I need an oil change, we're still going to service it, whether you say it's service.
I know. And we still owe Philip a pound cake, by the way.
I won't tell him.
Well, let him know we haven't forgotten. Okay. Robin has the recipe in her purse.
Just get it in the oven.
We got it from Martha Stewart, I think, online. Good morning. You're on the air with Matt.
Good morning, Matt. Happy New Year.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know what to tell you, but you talk about things that also need cooling. If you look at some of the sports car races, or even if you're out in the mountains and you're going downhill for quite a spell, and there's a curvy road, you'd be amazed at how red and white looking the brakes look. If you have a wheel that has a lot of openings in it, you can actually see whether they're especially the disc brakes, how they light up. And I do know that they used to put some kind of cooling mechanism on the race cars to help keep the brakes cool. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on with cars, especially if you're going to use them for either sports car rallies or actual races. And I'm just wondering if you have anything that you could add to that. I'll hang up and listen. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like in NASCAR, on a lot of the short tracks, where they're on the brakes a lot, like tracks like super tracks like Talladega, Daytona, those guys never touch the brake.
Really?
I mean, the accelerator pedal is hammered the whole time, But on short tracks, they do. Road races, they do. They use the brakes. And what NASCAR does is they actually have little blowers. And the best way for me to describe it was back in the 80s, Nissan, like the 280Zs and stuff like that. There was they had two of these things. It looked like a hairdryer. It was almost shaped just like a hairdryer.
They kept it cool?
And they were blowers. And they just came and they blew on the exhaust and tried to get the heat out of soaking in that engine compartment area. So yeah, I mean, we definitely a lot of the motorhome applications because everything is so congested. Like, you know how on some motorhomes you get in the driver's seat and there's a big box there. Well, the engine's right there. Well, that area can get so hot that a lot of the motorhome manufacturer would put fans in there or blowers, blow the heat out of there.
I didn't know that.
So, yeah, so blowers are used in a lot of different applications on a lot of different vehicles to keep things cooler.
It's amazing what they think of, huh? Those motorhomes are not cheap, by the way.
No, some of them are.
We had them as a sponsor one time, and we were invited to the lot. This was a long time ago. It was like $130,000, I think, for not even a big one. That's nothing, huh?
That's nothing.
Wow.
I was at the auction one time, and they had a Prevost.
I wouldn't want to be rear-ended. I'd be afraid that anybody would hit me. What's the insurance like on those things? It's got to be unbelievable.
No, I think the insurance is not that bad because I think a lot of people, it's not like you drive your motorhome every day to work.
Seems like people do this. They're always out there.
They're always out there. There's always people traveling and stuff. Yeah. But as far as you don't drive a motorhome like you do your car,
I guess, yeah.
You're not going to jump in the motorhome and go to the Jiffy store to buy a gallon of milk unless you have to.
Imagine that. Phone line is open if you want to call Matt. The number is 622-9622. So we did a home repair on the reservoir that feeds the water to Robin's radiator. Because it has a little tiny little pinhole. So
a little plastic container?
Yeah. So we saw this advertisement on TV for this tape. This guy cuts a boat in half. Have you seen this commercial? He cuts a boat in half, and then he puts the boat together with the tape, and he's riding it in the lake. Right? So I said, let's get that tape for your little leak. So we'll find out today if it worked. The tape says leave it there for 24 hours. I never knew tape that had to be set for 24 hours.
Yeah, I don't either.
I can't remember what it was called. I had a name for it.
Now, see, you got to be careful because some reservoirs are not really reservoirs. If the radiator cap is on the plastic container, then that means that container is building pressure. The other type, like if you have a little plastic flip cap,
right,
there's no pressure being put into that container.
Oh,
so if there's pressure that is in the reservoir, you need to replace that reservoir. So it'd be almost like if the radiator has a small leak in it, you don't want to put tape or it's just not going to hold.
Okay. Well, then I might have made a mistake.
I think
it is. I think it is the actual radiator cap thing.
If the radiator cap is on the plastic container, you need to replace the container.
Well, I got to get my oil changed anyway, so I'll show you. We'll bring both vehicles over there.
Yeah.
We'll start the new year at Matt's place.
Come on.
At Sunrise Automotive. So how was your new year? What did you guys do?
Well, we went to that wedding on Saturday.
Oh, that's right. You went to a wedding, yeah.
And then on Sunday, we went to church. And then after church, we went to lunch. And after lunch, we went and visited people. And we were able to stay out until like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you did the countdown thing?
We actually were sitting in someone's kitchen when the new year came, and I kissed my wife and said Happy New Year. And we finally made it home, and then yesterday I did absolutely nothing but watch football.
And did your team win?
Yeah, actually, it was a. Hey, congrats to UCF for beating Auburn. That was a great game. The Georgia and Oklahoma was a great game. That was a great game. And then to watch, so the SEC, because I'm a Gator fan, and the SEC didn't do very good in all the bowl series, but we're gonna do good on the one that counts because the SEC's winning the national championship one way or the other.
That's good stuff, right? So have you been turned off by the NFL with the kneeling and all that, or is it too separate
that really
issues?
bothers me. It really does bother me.
They say the TV ratings have gone down from that.
Yeah, it's just sad. It's sad that's as a country, that's where we've come to. We don't want to go there. This is a car show, but it's sad that.
Yeah, but where most people listen to talk radio, which is all about politics, is in their car.
Yeah.
So that radio.
So that's right. So here we are.
That radio that you're talking through right now is most likely used for Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck, Dana Lash. Who else is out there that does this stuff?
And I say kudos to the owners of the NFL teams that tell their guys, if you're not going to stand and you want to sit, you get to sit for a real long time.
There you go. So any resolutions that you want to share?
I'd rather not. I'm waiting for my wife to call in any moment.
I'm kind of in the same boat you are. Well, and Joey, anything new with Joey?
Well, Saturday.
Or your children in general?
All the kids are well. Great year. The new grandbaby, he's doing awesome.
How old is he now?
He's 3 months old now.
Oh.
Joey, he's leaving Thursday to head down to Orlando and get ready for Sunday's race at Disney. So I'm going to go Friday. They're going to go Thursday.
Well, I saw Joey in the parking lot. I didn't realize it was him until it was too late, and he was driving, and his friends got the wheelchair out of the back of the van, and then I saw him get out. I said, I think that's Joey. And then Robin said, well, it says Sunrise Automotive on the back. I said, well, then it must be Joey.
Yeah, when he comes into town, he has to drive Mama's car.
He's a good-looking guy. Where's your music over here? I have it here somewhere. Here it is.
This is my brother John right here.
Your brother John. Where's your music? Come on. There it is. All right, thank you, Matt. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody.
We'll be right back.
Matt Gibbs and the guys over at Sunrise Automotive will treat you right. Will treat you right.
Fox News Radio, I'm Chris Foster.